Today from the woodpile, we're going to make a bowl that requires no sanding. This is Bob Jennings from the woodpile. Come along with me on my wood turning journey as we dream it, think it, sketch it, turn it, sand it, finish it, post it. Most wood turners would rather not sand their projects. They'd like to do the creative wood turning component and then have it magically sand itself. Well, in this video, let me show you some of the techniques that I use on a bowl to help reduce the amount of sanding required. Alright, one of the first things we need to do is ensure we have a very sharp gouge for a non-sanding or limited sanding bowl. This is a standard 45-degree grind and it has a relief grind on the heel. With the push cut, you need to ride the bevel. That gives you the absolute best control over the tool edge. Here's a close-up of the tool presentation. You can see in this view there's full contact of the bevel and the workpiece. Here the tool is up. It's resting on the heel. I bring it back down and it's flush. Bingo, that's perfect right there. In this footage, I'm using a drag technique where I use the bottom edge of the flute and I'm dragging it across the piece. A very light touch is required, but you can smooth out transition and tool marks and get an almost smooth finish that requires no sanding. You can see in this close-up I'm resting the bottom flute against the piece. I'm slowly dragging it along. The outside's finished and no sanding's required. It's as good as a 400 or better grit. Similar techniques on the inside, riding the bevel where I can and making a nice smooth transition around the corner. This relief grind on the heel of my bowl gouge allows me to get into the corner. Without that, I wouldn't be able to get such a tight radius. Regularly sharpening all of your tools is critical if you want to avoid grain tear out and get a good finish. And your scrapers are no different. Stay on top of your scrapers, keep them sharpened regularly, and you'll be rewarded with a good finish. Well, this wasn't a speed challenge, but I was wondering how long it would take me to do a no sanding bowl, a relatively small bowl, and it took 27 minutes. To try to minimize your sanding, make sure your tools are sharp, ride the bevel wherever you can and keep good tool presentation, and use the shear scraping technique with a real light touch. As wood turners, it's easy for us to fall into the rut of using sandpaper to actually contour our projects. Try to avoid that. Instead, rely on good tool technique and presentation, and just use sandpaper for minimizing your tool transition marks. This piece was mountain ash, and it finished quite nicely with minimal grain tear out. Softer woods like poplar tend to have large grain and they tear significantly on end grain. Try to avoid those materials if you want to reduce your sanding, but sometimes you just gotta sand. Well, that's a wrap for this video, and I hope you enjoyed it. If you've already subscribed, thank you. And if you haven't, please consider it. Also, I really appreciate your comments and your thumbs up, so keep those coming. All right, thanks for watching. We'll see you in the next video.